Hey, this is Attorney Andre, and if you've been watching the news, I want you to stay till the end because I've got some interesting news for you. But if you've been watching the news, you know about Mangione and what he did, that he shot the CEO for United Health, that it's all over the news right now, and now he's already been arrested in Pennsylvania. He's going to be extradited to New York because there's an extradition. He was arrested in Pennsylvania. They're going to charge him in New York for things that he did in New York. And what's going to happen? What are his defenses? How is he going to defend himself? Especially, well, we all know he admitted not guilty. So when you go to court, you would say either you're guilty or you're not guilty. What is he going to do next? Well, he's got a couple of options. First of all, he has what's called affirmative defenses. Affirmative defenses are very good, but affirmative defenses say, yes, I did this, but here is why. And then you have the ultimate defense of denial. I didn't do this. It's not me. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything like that. That's not going to fly. Everyone knows that it's him. He's probably admitting that it's him, even though he's denying the allegations against him. So what kind of defenses does he actually have? Well, the one that most lawyers would say is what's called an insanity defense. But he's not going to say I was insane because he's clearly not insane. The guy is a very highly educated person that went to the best schools. How is he going to say he's insane? Well, in New York, you have interesting laws as to insanity. It's not really insanity. It's really mental impairment. So what he would say is the situation in the United States, and he would turn this political, the situation in the United States is so difficult. The situation in the United States is so unfathomable as it pertains to the healthcare industry, as it pertains to United Healthcare denying all of these people. People are dying. People are not getting the healthcare they need. So he had what's called a fit of rage. He couldn't stand what was happening to the public. He couldn't stand what was happening in this country, and he took some kind of action. Now, a lot of the retractors, a lot of the other people are going to say, well, this fit of rage didn't happen instantly, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't have to happen instantly. It could simply be a situation where this fit of rage happens and it builds up over time, because if it builds up over time, that defense works. So let's say he makes that defense. What's next? Well, if he makes that defense and the jury finds him guilty, the jury would find a mitigating circumstance. And that mitigating circumstance is this, what we call insanity defense, or what we just talked about, something that happened mentally that caused him to do it. It doesn't get him out of prison. It doesn't get him out of any kind of situation. He would still either go to a mental institution or some kind of prison. He would get some kind of a reduced sentence or a sentence to be mitigated based on that, but it's not an ultimate defense. It is a defense, but it's not an ultimate defense. So most likely his case is going to be used as a primer and as, I guess, a Kickstarter for what I believe he hopes is a change in the system of healthcare. I don't know if it will ultimately work, because the problem with all of this is what would have worked maybe 50 years ago, maybe 75 years ago, where you have the news story would go on for a long time. You have a very quick news cycle. So as soon as he's sentenced, it's really up to his lawyers, if that's the path that he wants to go for. If that's the path he's going to go for, it's really up to his lawyers to keep it in the media, to keep it in the news. And there is a lot of things that lawyers can do. They can get media involved. They can make a request to the court to have the media involved in the courtroom. So you have a situation where you have cameras inside the courtroom, recording cross-examination, recording direct examination, getting his testimony. And that's another thing that we have to consider, his actual testimony. Because if he is going to make this issue about a political system, not simply that I didn't do this, but make it actual about politics, he's got to testify. Now, when we're talking about testifying, a defendant in a criminal case, and you all know this, does not have to testify. He can stay quiet, and the prosecution can't use that simply to say he's guilty because he didn't testify. But I bet, and I'll put my money on this, if anyone wants to bet with me, let's do it, that his lawyers would force him to testify, or he would make the request to testify. Because that's the only way, number one, he's going to get his argument out. And number two, if he's an eloquent, well-spoken young man, he can get his argument in such a way to say, look, here is why I did this. I'm appalled by the system as it is today. I didn't think that I could do anything else. I had a lapse of judgment, or whatever he's going to call it, but I didn't think there was any other way to bring eyes to the situation except for doing what I did. And perhaps that's something that would work. Perhaps that would make the system view more his side, And perhaps that might institute some kind of change. But again, I don't think it would really institute some kind of change, because you get rid of one CEO, you're going to have another one take his place. The internal policies are not going to change, because we have a system. And although I love America, it's the best system in the world, we have a system of lobbyists and we have a system of special interests, you all know about it, that would keep things in place. And without someone that's derailing the system on a fundamental level, not this level, but on a fundamental level, it's very clear that things might not change. But as for his defenses, what he can look to, it's probably going to be some sort of mental state defense, along with his actual testimony. And what his lawyers are probably going to do, and what his lawyers have started doing, is to make a media case for him. Try his case in the case of public opinion, in the realm of public opinion, and not so much in the courtroom, because that's guided by very strict rules of evidence, whereas the court of public opinion, anyone can say anything. Hell, I'm talking about it right now. Let me know what you think. I'm really interested in for your comments. I'll respond to every single one of them. And here's what I wanted to say to you. I have such great news for you. I'm going to do a sweepstakes. It's going to be great. I want to hear what you have to say. And if you have an interesting comment, I'll comment on it. We might even have a discussion. We can do this live on camera. I would love to have people involved. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. This is Attorney Andre. I'm always here for you. Talk to you soon.